Hello, it's Sonia with The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. Today we are going to be making some mittens. So for this pattern, I'm going to be using an H hook and a 5mm hook, and also an I hook and a 5.5 millimeter. Now for the H, we're going to be making these cuff up. So we're going to be starting with the H hook. Now if you do have smaller hands, then you could just use the H hook for the entire mitten. So we are starting with the H, and to make these, you are going to need some worsted weight yarn. So I have this huge ball, can't really get it in the camera, of Red Heart, I believe it's Red Heart Super Saver. It's actually like a neon pink. The camera, I don't think it can pick it up, but it's quite bright. And we are going to use this up for some mittens. I think they'll make some fun mittens. So we are going to get started with our slip knot. And you will also need to use a stitch marker, but not for the cuff. We're going to work with the cuff first. These are all made all in one piece. So to get started, what you're going to need to do is chain 12. So we have our 12 chains here. So we are going to be working the cuff in rows, and then the rest of the mitten will be in rounds, the hand part. So to get started, our first row is going to be a double crochet. So we are going to work in the 4th chain from our hook, and your skipped chain 3 will count as a stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We are working in the back bump of the chain, and you'll understand why a little bit later. So right in that back bump, work a double crochet. And this is one of my favorite cuff type stitches, this stitch pattern. I just love this. It's like a ribbing. Anyway, so we now have 2 stitches. So we're going to continue to double crochet across, and you will have a total of 10 double crochet. And again, the skip chain 3 counts as a stitch. And I like this cuff, the ribbing technique that I'll be using, because to me it resembles knitting, and it's kind of flexible like a knitted ribbing. Not that knitting is better than crochet, it's not. But sometimes it's fun to kind of come up with stitches that kind of resemble the other craft. Okay, so we have our first row, so I'm going to count just to make sure we have 10. 1, 2, 3. Yep, we have 10. Okay, so we have row 1 completed of our double crochet, so now we're ready for row 2. We're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we will be working in back loops only. We are going to slip stitch all the way across. So I'm going to work right in my same stitch, and you want to keep a loose tension, so don't make these stitches too tight. And you're just going to continue to work in the back loops for a total of 10 stitches again. You want to maintain those 10 stitches. And so this is our chain 3, and you can work however you want. Just on the top of that chain 3, work your slip stitch. So obviously not in the back loop because there is not one. Okay, we have row 2. We're not working in rounds yet. And now we're going to go for row 3, chain 1, turn your work. So now we will be working in the back loops only for the remainder of these rows. And you're going to want to turn your work like this so you can see the top of the stitches like that, because it's kind of hard when you're looking at it like this. And we're going to work right in the same stitch right here. Here's our back loop. And again, watch your tension for a total of 10 stitches. Slip stitching. So we have row 3 completed, and the right side, this is the right side. All the odd rows are the right side, and all of the even rows, they are the wrong side. So we're going to chain 1 and turn for row 4, and we're going to do the same thing, just slip stitch all the way across for 10 stitches in the back loop. I really love this stitch pattern for cuffs or anything that needs like a ribbing type of technique. It kind of looks like knitting. Doesn't mean that knitting is better. I just like to you know, see if I can copy the stitches a little bit. I just think it's kind of fun. They're both awesome crafts in their own right. So here's my last stitch, and you can see it kind of gets a little smushed in there, but it's there. So now we are going to get ready for our repeating sequence. You're going to chain 3, turn your work for row 5. So we are going to count this as a stitch, our double crochet. You do not want to work right in here. We're going to work in back loops all the way across, double crochet, but make sure you don't work here. You don't want to add stitches. So we're going to work in this next guy in the back loop for a total of 10 double crochet, and again this counts as a stitch. And here is our last stitch for row 5. So now we're going to chain 1 and turn, again working in back loops, and 6, 7, and 8 is going to be slip stitch rows. So this will be the repeating sequence 5 through 8. And then here again is our chain 3, so wherever you can get your hook on top of that chain 3, and work the final slip stitch. So row 7, right in that same stitch, still working in the back loop. So you can see I just turn it a little bit towards me, see the top of the stitches there. And then one more row, back loop only. And then we're going to chain 3 and turn to get ready for stitches 9 through 12. So we're going to repeat this. So double crochet, 3 rows of slip stitch, working in back loops. So you're going to continue this, you're going to work up to row 27. So you're going to work 27 rows in this sequence, and then row 28, we're going to get ready to turn this into a cuff. So keep repeating rows 5 through 8, and then stop after row 27. So I will meet you back at the end of row 27. Alright, so now I have completed my 27 rows here on my cuff of my mitten. Now we're going to turn this into a circle, because now we'll be working in rounds. So we're going to finish this up, so row 28. So what you're going to do is chain 1. Now you're going to take the ends of row 1 and match them up to the ends of row 27, just like that. So row 27, row 1 right here. So now you'll see why we worked in the back bump. So now for what we're going to do is we are going to work in the front loop here of row 1, and we will work in the back loop of row 27. So we'll insert our hook in the front loop, row 1, and insert your hook in the back loop of row 27, just like we've been doing. So now we have our 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, and we're going to pull through all 3 of those guys. And we're going to continue that, so front loop of the next stitch at the end of row 1, back loop of row 27, and work our slip stitch. And just continue doing that all the way across. And what this does is it creates an almost invisible seam. You can tell a little bit, but it's pretty invisible. That's why I like doing it like this. So we have 2 more to go. So this is stitch number 9. And then of course at the end of row 1, this was the double crochet row, you're going to be working in the chain 3 and in the back loop of your last stitch of row 27. You can find her. There it is. And now we have joined, so now you can see it looks pretty similar to that. So now we're going to get ready to work around the ends of here. So you're going to chain 1, and we are going to work 28 half double crochet all the way around. So how I like to do that is I work 2, so I just chained 1, I want to work 2 half double crochet around this double crochet here. So there's the first, second, and then you can see here it looks like a little upside down V. I like to insert my hook right in the center there and work a half double crochet. So now we have 3, and then I'll do it in the next one and just continue around until I have 28 half double crochet for round 1, because now we're going to be working in rounds. Done working in rows, now we're ready to work in rounds. So I'm going to keep going around until I have 28 half double crochet for round 1 of our mittens. Alright, so I have finished up my 28 half double crochet all the way around for round 1 of my mittens. So now I'm going to switch to my eye hook, because you want the cuff to be closer to your wrist, and then obviously, you know, your hand is definitely wider. But again, if you do have very, very small hands, I do have smaller hands, but I kind of have longish fingers, so I'm switching to the eye hook. So just, you know, it's your call, whatever you think you need to do. And what you're going to want to do is your last stitch, we will mark it, as we will be working in continuous rounds for the rest of the pattern here. So I'm just using my handy dandy scrap of yarn. You can use whatever you have on hand or actual stitch markers. And we're going to get started on round 2. So our first stitch, we will be working in the 3rd loop. So if you've never worked in a 3rd loop of half double crochet, I do have a video featuring it. It's Stitch of the Week video, and I've done some other patterns with this technique. But I can show you real fast. So when you're looking at the half double crochet, you have your front loop right here, your back loop right there. So the top of it, it looks, you know, just like a regular crochet stitch. But when you turn it over into the very back of the stitch, there's another loop right there. So that is the loop we will be working on for the remainder of the pattern here. So what we're going to do is our first stitch, 3rd loop, is half double crochet. and we will be using half double crochet for the remainder of the pattern. So stitch 1, we're going to work 10 stitches in our third loop. And here we are. So I'm just going to double check to make sure I worked in 10 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So now stitches 11, 12, 13, and 14, we are still half double crocheting. We're going to work some post stitches. So we're working front post half double crochet around the next 4 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now we have 4 post stitches, and now we're going to work half double crochet in the third loop for the rest of this round. So when you work your post stitch, the next one, the half double crochet in the third loop, it gets a little crunched up. You can kind of see that post stitch pushing into that. So you don't want to miss that, but it's there. There's our loop there. So just make sure you don't miss that guy. Easy to do. And now we're at our last stitch, so working in the third loop and that half double crochet, and I'm just going to mark that stitch again. So then round 2 is complete. So now we're going to get ready to work round 3. So we're just doing the same thing. We're not joining, we're just working continuous rounds, so it looks as seamless as possible. That's the goal. So we're just going to continue to work half double crochet in the next 11 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so there's stitch 10. Now stitch 11, I'll be working in this first post stitch, so same thing, third loop. So we worked 11 stitches, now we're going to work 4 post stitches again. So around the next 3 post stitches, you're working post stitch right around those guys, super easy. Front post half double crochet. And now we're going to work around this one. So we have our 4 post stitches all together. And now we're just going to continue to work in our third loop, so making sure you don't miss that first one next to the post stitch, and just stitching around to your stitch marker. And then round 3 is complete. We're almost to the end. And then as always, mark that last stitch. And there we go, round 3. Alright, so now let's start round 4. Round 4 is going to be a repeat of round 3, except in working 12 stitches in the 3rd loop, and then we'll work 4 post stitches. And now stitch 12, and we'll work 4 post stitches. So there we go, and now we're just going to finish up this row by working the remainder of the half double crochet in the 3rd loop for round 4. And then popping in my stitch marker for my last stitch of round 4. So now we're going to get ready for round 5. Round 5, we are going to start some thumb shaping. So you are going to work half double crochet in the 3rd loop for the next 9 stitches. So I think I worked 9 stitches. I just want to double check. Yep, so 9. So now stitch 10, we are going to start working the thumb shaping. So you're going to work 2 half double crochet in the 3rd loop in the next stitch. And that is the start of the thumb shaping. I know it doesn't look like much yet, but just wait, it will. Okay, so stitch 10, working 2. And then in the next 3 stitches, you are going to work half double crochet in the 3rd loop. And now we're going to work 4 front post stitches again. So now we're working the 4 post stitches for round 5. So now we have our 4 post stitches, and we're going to continue just working half double crochet in the 3rd loop for the rest of round 5. Okay, so now we're ready for round 6. So round 6, we are going to work 9 half double crochet in the 3rd loop, just like a repeat of round 5. Okay, so now we're back to our thumb. This is our thumb area. So the next 2 stitches, stitches 10 and 11, we're going to pop in 2 stitches in each, working in the 3rd loop. So there's the first, there's the second, and then here's stitch 11, we're putting 2 stitches in there. So stitches 12 through 15, we're going to work half double crochet in the 3rd loop. So 12, 13, 14, 15, And stitches 16, 17, 18, and 19 are front post half double crochets. And then we'll just finish up the rest of the round with our half double crochet in the third loop. Alright, so we finished up round 6. So at the end of round 6 you're going to have a total of 31 stitches because we increased by 2 here. So now we'll get ready for round 7. Okay, so round 6 we're going to do the same thing, working in our third loop in the first 9 stitches. So half double crochet in the third loop, first 9 stitches. Okay, so I've worked in 9 stitches. So now we're at our thumb section again. So this first stitch you're going to work 2 stitches. So stitch 10, pop in 2 stitches, and stitches 11 and 12, 1 stitch, and then stitch 13 we're going to pop in 2 stitches. So at the ends of the thumb section, and we're going to do this for a few more rounds, you're going to add 2 stitches. So this here is our thumb section. You can see it fanning out. So the ends of the stitches, here's one here, we're going to add 2 stitches for the next couple rounds. So that was stitch 13. So now we have stitches 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. We are working in the front loop. I mean, not front loop, I'm sorry, third loop. Okay, and then stitches 19, 20, and 21. We are working front post half double crochet. And then stitch 22, we are also working front post half double crochet. I don't know why I didn't include stitch 22. And then for the remainder of the stitches, we are just going to work in our third loop. Alright, so at the end of round 7, you're going to have a total of 33 stitches. So we increase by 2, and we'll get ready for round 8. Okay, so round 8 is going to be similar to round 7. So our first 9 stitches, half double crochet in the third loop. Okay, so now we got our thumb section, so stitch 10, popping in 2 stitches, and then stitches 11, 12, 13, and 14 we work even, still third loop, half double crochet, and then stitch 15 we work our 2 half double crochet in that third loop, and then stitches 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 we work half double crochet in the third loop, and then 22, 23, 24, and 25 front post half double crochet, And then the remainder of the stitches are third loop, front or half double crochet, stitch for the rest of round 8. So at the end of round 8, you're going to have a total of 35 half double crochet. And now we're going to pop our stitch marker back in and get ready for round 9. Okay, so let's get started for round 9. So same thing as round 8. First 9 stitches are in the third loop, half double crochet, working even. Now we are to our thumb section again, so stitch 10, popping in 2 stitches. And then stitches 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, working even. Stitch 17, you're going to pop in 2 stitches. So stitch 17, 2 stitches, still working third loop. And then stitches 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. We are working in our third loop, half double crochet even. So 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Working front post half double crochet. And then we'll just finish out the round here, working even in our third loop. So at the end of round 9, you should have a total of 37 stitches. So a couple more rounds to increase on the thumb there. But we're getting there. And I'll put my stitch marker back in and we'll get ready for round 10. Alright, so we're ready for round 10. So we're going to do the same thing. First 9 stitches, working even in our third loop, half double crochet. Okay, so now we're ready for stitch 10, popping in our 2 stitches. And then stitches 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, working even. Now we're ready for stitch 19, popping in 2 stitches, continuing that increase there. Okay, so stitches 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, working even. Okay, so we worked stitches 20 through 27 even. So stitches 28, 29, 30, and 31. We are working our front post half double crochets. So there we go, starting to slant up there. And now we're just going to finish out the row, or the round, working half double crochet in the third loop. So almost done round. Alright, so let's get ready for round 11. So same thing, first 9 stitches working even. Alright, so now we are going to work 2 stitches in stitch 10. And then stitches 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. We are working even. Okay, so now we are at stitch 21. We're going to pop in 2 stitches in our third loop there. And then stitches 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. We are going to work even. Okay, so now we're ready for round 12. So again, first 9 stitches working even, and now we're going to be shaping the thumb hole this round. Something a little different. Okay, so we've worked our 9 stitches for round 12. So now we're going to get ready to turn this into a thumb hole. So what you want to do is stitch 10, you're going to insert your hook, so just like you were working your half double crochet. Now we're going to skip stitches 11 through 22. So it's pretty easy because you're just going to go straight to these 2 half double crochets, and then in the last one here, you're just going to insert your hook into that third loop. Like that, so you've got your 4 loops, and now we're going to get ready to just work our regular half double crochet. So yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3. So now we have created a thumb hole, and so now you're going to continue to half double crochet in stitches 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, working even. And then stitches 30, 31, 32, 33, working front post half double crochets. Okay, so we have worked our 4 post stitches for round 12, and we're just going to finish up by working in the third loop for the rest of the round, our half double crochets, and then round 12 will be complete. Okay, so we finished up round 12. So at the end of round 12, you're going to be back to your 28 stitches. So you can see we now have a thumb hole for our left thumb. So for rounds 13 through 16, you're going to work even. So what you're going to do is you're going to half double crochet around in a third loop until you get to the stitch before your post stitches. So once you get to this stitch here, you're going to work 1, 2, 3, 4 post stitches around, and then continue to half double crochet around in the third loop. So you're just going to do that for rounds 13, 14, 15, and 16, and then I will meet you back at the end of round 16. Okay, so I've worked 16 rounds up to round 16. So as you can see we've gone this way, now we're going this way. So now we're going to work round 17 and round 18. So what you're going to do is again work even, but now we want to start our post stitches going the other way. So what you're going to do is you're going to work your half double crochet in the third loop, and then you'll work in this first post stitch in the third loop, and then the next 3 post stitches you work your half double crochet post stitch, or front post half double crochet, let's say it right. And then this stitch you're going to work a front post half double crochet. So now the post stitches are going to be pointing in the opposite direction. So we're going to have like a zigzag effect there. So you're going to do that for round 17 and round 18. And then after that, we're going to get ready to start decreasing to close this guy up so it looks like a mitten. Okay, so I have finished up round 18. So now we're ready for round 19. We're going to start decreasing to get this looking like a mitten. So what we're going to do is you're going to half double crochet in the third loop in the next 5 stitches. And I hope all this time that you've been using your stitch marker and just stitching around. As you can see, there's no seam. That's why I like this method. Now if you were using different colors, then you would have a little bit of a seam. Or you could use self-striping yarn, I guess. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to decrease. So how we're going to do that is we're still working in the third loop. So you have your yarn over. You're going to pick up a stitch in the first loop. So you have 3 loops, just like we were, working a regular half double crochet. But now we're going to go into the next third loop. So now we have our 4 stitches. We're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3. So now we have worked our decrease. We're going to do another one. So we're going to work another sequence. So we're going to work 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and stitch 5, and we're going to work that decrease. So third loop, 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3. So now we are going to work a half double crochet in the third loop in the next stitch, and you're going to work your 4 post stitches like we've been doing. Keep with our little zigzag there. I mean, you could certainly make these without the zigzag. I just think it looks a little fun. And then we need to work our 4th post stitch. And now we are going to half double crochet in the third loop until we get to our last 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to decrease in those last 4. And at the end of this row, you're going to have a total of 24 stitches instead of 28. I need to work 1 more stitch. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so let's decrease these last 4. So third loop, pull through 2, pull through the 3, and then our last 2, third loop. Let me move that stitch marker. Third loop, and there we go. And we still want to mark our last stitch so we don't lose track. And then round, whoops, yeah, that's, where is she? And then round 19 is complete. Okay, so as I said before, at the end of round 19, you're going to have 24 stitches. So now we're ready for round 20. So round 20 is an even row. So you're just going to work one stitch in each all the way around. We're going to keep to our pattern here. So when you get to this, you're going to work a half double crochet in this post stitch, and then you're going to post stitch in the next 4. So we're keeping with that, and then just stitch to the end. So I will meet you back at the end of round 20. Okay, so now we are ready for round 21. So we are going to decrease again. So you're going to work 4 stitches even. So 1, 2, and again always in the third loop. Your half double crochets. Oops. This yarn's a little splitty. It's Red Heart Super Saver. It's not usually splitty like this. I'm not sure why, but you know. These things happen. So we have 4 stitches. Now we're going to work the same type of decrease. So third loop, pull through the 2, pull through the 3, and we're going to do the same thing again. So 4 stitches even, and work our decrease. And now we are going to work even in the next 1, 2, and 3 stitches. And now we're going to work our 4 post stitches. And we're going to work 1 half double crochet in the third loop right here. And now we're going to work our decrease stitches. We have 4 stitches left, 1, 2, 3, 4. So picking up our loops. So at the end of this round, you're going to have a total of 20 stitches. And then we're going to be ready for round 22. So round 22 is a repeat of round 20. You're just going to work even. So when you get to this section here, you work your half double crochet here, and then your 4 post stitches there. And we're going to then get ready for, after round 22, then we'll get ready for round 23. Okay, so now we're ready for round 23. We're getting close to finishing the top part of our mitten here. So what we're going to do is we are going to decrease in the first 4 stitches. So pick up a loop there, pick up a loop there. So we're combining these 2 stitches into one, and now we're going to do the other 2. And we did our other decrease. So now we are going to half double crochet in the next 3 stitches, still working in our third loop. Working even here. And we're going to work our half double crochet decrease. Get my stitch marker out of the way. Or together stitch. Oops, I'm not doing it right. I don't think what am I doing? I'm talking, screwing up. Sorry about that. All right, we're going to work the decrease. Pick up a loop, pick up a loop. There we go. And I didn't do a yarn over. Oh, wow. I'm getting excited, the home stretch, and I'm messing up. There we go. We did it. All right, so we'll do the same thing. Half double crochet in the next 3. And we'll work our decrease. So loop, loop. Now we'll half double crochet in the next stitch here. And then you'll work your post stitches, your 4 post stitches. work a half double crochet in that last stitch. So at the end of this round, you're going to have a total of 16 stitches. Okay, so that is the end of round 23. So round 24, we're going to work even. Okay, so we finished up round 24. Now round 25 is our final round, and then we're going to close up our hole on top. So our first stitch is actually going to be a front post half double crochet. And then we are going to half double crochet in the next one. So we worked half double crochet in the next 12 stitches, so we have 3 to go, and we're going to front post half double crochet around the last 3 stitches, and then all the stitching part will be finished, and then we'll just need to close up this hole. And then we can join in our first stitch here. Swing her around. So we're joining with a slip stitch just like that. So we've completed all of our rounds, and so now we just need to close up this hole here. Okay, so now we're going to get ready to close up this hole here. So what you're going to need to do is you'll use 2 hooks at least, or if you don't want to do this method, this is my closed hole method, so if you've made any hats with me bottom up, then you'll recognize this method. If you don't want to do that, you can certainly, you know, sew it closed or stitch it closed, but I like this method because I just think it looks a lot nicer. So I'm going to use 2 hooks. You can use the same size hook, or you can go up a hook size or down a hook size. They don't both have to be the same. You can even use 3 if you need to. I just happen to have 2 eye hooks here. So what we're going to do is you're going to want your loop on your hook to be on there snugly, and even if you have the hooks with the thicker handles, you can still, you know, do this method. It works fine. Okay, so we are going to be working in the 3rd loop still, and we're going to pick up as many loops as we can and fit them on our hook. So let me show you what I mean by that. So here is our 3rd loop, and we're just going to pull up a loop. We're not going to work it off. So you're going to continue to pull up as many loops as you can on your first hook. So just cram them on there. And maybe one more loop there. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my 2nd hook, and I'm just going to find the next stitch, pop my hook in there, and pull up the loop, and just continue for the rest of the round here. So it is a little bit awkward, but you'll see where we're going with this. Okay, that is the last stitch there. So now we have all of our loops on our 2 hooks, and if you need to use a 3rd, you know, certainly feel free to do that, or even a 4th, it's quite alright. So now we're going to work these guys off. So you're going to just work a giant slip stitch, pulling your loop all the way through these loops. So you don't have to go through it quickly, you can just take your time. You can do 1 at a time, 2 at a time. Okay, then I'm going to take this loop and put it on the other hook, and you want to have, see that loop's kind of loose, you want to have it snugly on there, and just continue to work them off. Now you want to take your time, because if you do it too quickly and mess up, then you do need to start over, and that's a pain. Okay, so now we have all of our loops worked off our hook. I had already cut my yarn, and if you haven't cut your yarn, cut your yarn, and then pull her through like that to finish it off. And then you just have a nice neat finish, I think, at the top. And then I like to insert my hook in my, oops, catching my mitten, into the mitten, pull it through the hole there, poke it through, grab that tail, just pull her through, and then I just give it a little bit of a tug to kind of finish her off. And then you can see you got a nice neat finish there. Okay, so now we need to work the thumb. So I like to work starting in the back. So this obviously is the back of the mitten. So right here, I'm going to attach my yarn in this third loop right here, because we are still going to work half double crochet in the third loop. So I'm attaching my yarn. I'm going to chain one, and then just work that half double crochet right in that same stitch. And then I'm going to continue to half double crochet around, and I'm going to work 15. I want to have a total of 15. So you're going to come to this area, so just, you know, stitch along here. Now just be careful when you're stitching, because see, there's a big loop there. You don't want a hole. So if you just kind of grab your loops to kind of, you know, keep it closed, that's what I suggest. So I'm going to continue to stitch around until I have a total of 15. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what I'm doing here. So I've already worked 13 stitches. I need to work 2 more. So as you can see, I kind of just worked inside this loop to keep it neat. So now I kind of have a little bit of a gap here. So I want to clean that up. So I need to work 2 more stitches. So what I'm going to do is, you can see there's a little stitch there. I'm going to just pop my hook in. I'm going to wrap around this gap here. So this is stitch 14. So then that kind of just pulls that guy closed. So you just kind of want to study it and look at it, and then just see. See, I'm actually going to probably put my hook in 2 of those loops there, and then just work around here. So there's no real like science to it. It's just kind of eyeballing it and just seeing as to where you can put your hook. So as you can see, that looks a whole lot nicer. We've got that all closed up, and we're ready to go for round 2. So I'm again marking my stitch here. So sometimes crocheting is not like a complete science of, oh, put your you know, work a stitch in this stitch or whatever. So sometimes you kind of have to free-form it a little bit and just study it and look at it. So then when you know, you turn it over here, you know, it looks fine. It looks nice and neat. So that's just a little suggestion. I mean, you can do it however you wish. Okay, so now we're ready for rounds 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are just going to be even rounds. So again, continuous rounds. I'm just popping my hook in that, what did I do here? Yarn over, get it in there. I don't know why we're being difficult there. So I'm just going to continue to work even around. I'll have a total of 15 stitches, and I'll meet you back for after the end of round 3. So work even for rounds 2 and 3. Okay, so I've worked up to round 3, so now we're ready for round 4. Now, round 4 is going to be a decrease. So we are going to work in a sequence of 5. So you're going to work even in the next 3 stitches, and the decreases or together stitch is going to be the same as for the hand part of the mitten. So there's our 3 stitches, pulling up our loops for our decrease. And you'll just continue that around for round 4. Okay, so we completed the decrease there for round 4, or round 4, sorry. So after round 4, you're going to have a total of 12 stitches. So now we're ready for round 5. We're going to do one more decrease. So round 5 is a sequence of 4. So your first 2 stitches work even. And then we are going to front loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 3. So you're just going to continue that around. I'm going to do that off camera like I did round 4 because it's just easier with this small little circle here. So I will meet you back at the end of round 5. Okay, so I completed round 5. At the end of round 5, you're going to have a total of 9 stitches. So we just need to work one more round even, and then we're going to close up our thumb hole. So I'm going to stitch around real quick. Okay, so now I need to finish off the thumb. We're going to do the same thing as we did at the top of the mitten. So you're just going to insert your hook in the 3rd loop and pull up as many as you can all the way around. So I'll probably do this off camera since it's a smaller working area. It's a little tricky. So as you can see, I've got all my loops on there. So now we just do the same thing as we did with the top of the mitten. You're just going to yarn over and work your giant slip stitch. And if you needed to use 3 hooks, you know, again, that's quite all right. But I was able to do it with 2. And I'm just going to finish that up. And then you'll cut your yarn and then pull her through. And then you have another nice and tidy finish there. I'm going to do my little trick of putting my hook through, poking it through the center. Made that really tight. I want to grab. I usually like to pull it tight on the inside. Don't know why I did it on the outside. And I'm going to pull that tail through. Now I'm going to pull it tight. And see, now you have a nice neat finish there for the thumb as well. So now your left mitten is all finished except for, you know, weaving in your ends. And if you want to line your mitten, you know, certainly feel free to do that as well. And now we'll get ready to work the right mitten. Okay, so now we are ready to work the right mitten. And as I said before, there's a right mitten and a left mitten. And so the right mitten, we are going to do the cuff first again, and it's the same directions for the left. So you're going to chain 12, you know, work your first double crochet row here and work your 27 rows. So you have your 1 row double crochet, 3 rows slip stitch, and you'll work up to row 27 and then you join it like we did here. And then we'll get ready for round 1. So I'm going to go ahead and work my cuff and join my cuff, and then I'll meet you back and we'll get ready to start on the hand part of the right mitten. And I'm actually using the wrong hook. I need to use my size H because again you want the cuff to be, you know, more form-fitting on your wrist there. Okay, so I'll meet you back when the cuff is finished. Okay, so we are working on the right mitten, but I'm showing you the left because I forgot to say you were going to do the cuff same as the left, and then round 1 same as the left. And now here we are. Here's the right mitten, and we're going to get started on round 2, which is going to be different than the left. So we have placed our stitch marker, so that's going to be the same. We're still working in continuous rounds, and we're still going to be working in the 3rd loop for the rest of the rounds. But for round 2, we are going to work in the first 12 half double crochet in the 3rd loop. And also you're switching to your I hook if usually the hand part's a little bit larger. If you have very small hands, then you might want to stay with the H hook. It's completely fine. And this yarn is, like I said before, it's not usually super splitty yarn, but got a bad batch, I guess. Okay, so we're going to work on the first 12. Okay, so I believe I've worked 12. I'm just going to count just to be sure. we've worked 12. Okay, so our next 4 stitches are going to be the post stitches. So front post half double crochet around the next 4 stitches. And now we are just going to finish up this round. Again, you want to make sure you don't miss that guy. Likes to get crunched up in there, and just half double crochet all the way around to your last stitch. Okay, so now we're going to be ready for rounds 3 and 4. You're going to work even. So for round 3, what you're going to do is you are going to work in the first 11 stitches, and then in stitches 12, 13, 14, and 15, you're going to work your post stitches, your front post half double crochet, and then you're going to continue to work your half double crochet in the 3rd loop. Okay, so for round 4, it's going to be similar to round 3. You're going to work even, and when you get to stitches 10, 11, 12, and 13, you're going to work your post stitches. So what we want to do is when we worked the left mitten, we had our first post stitches slanting this way towards the left. Well, now we're working the right. We want our first ones to be slanting to the right. So just think of right, and this is the right mitten, and we're slanting to the right. So that's the difference of the 2 mittens. So I'm going to do that, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 4. We're going to get ready for round 5, and that's going to be the thumb. We're going to start the thumb. So you're going to work in the first 9 stitches even in our 3rd loop, half double crochet. And now we're going to work our 4 front post stitches in stitches 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay, here's stitch 14. So stitches 14 through 17 we're going to work even. So 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so now we're at stitch 18. 18 we're going to put in our 2 half double crochet just like we did before to start the thumb. So we have our 2 stitches there, stitch 18, and then you just finish out your round here. So at the end of round 5, you're going to have a total of 29 stitches, just like we did for the left mitten. And as always, I hope that you're using your stitch marker. Okay, so now we are ready for round 6. We are going to start out by working even. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we're working even in the first 8 stitches. Now we're ready for our 4 post stitches. So stitches 9, front post half double crochet, 10, and 11 and 12. And now we're going to continue to work even through stitches 13 through 17. Okay, so now we're at our thumb section here. So this is stitch 18. We're going to work 2 half double crochet in the 3rd loop in stitch 18. And we're going to work 2 more half double crochet in the 3rd loop in stitch 19. And then you're going to continue to work even around to finish up round 6. So I'm going to finish up here off camera. Okay, so now we're ready for round 7. At the end of round 6, you're going to have a total of 31 half double crochet. So now let's get ready for round 7. So round 7, we're going to work even in the first 7 stitches. And now we're ready for our post stitch section. So 4 front post half double crochet. Now stitches 12 through 17, working even again. Alright, now we're back to our thumb. So stitch 18, we are working 2 half double crochet in stitch 18, and stitches 19 and 20 we're going to work even, so 1 stitch in each, and stitch 21 you're going to pop in 2 stitches because we're again working on the thumb just like we did on the left mitten, and then you're going to continue around to finish up round 7 working even. So at the end of round 7 you're going to have a total of 33 half double crochet. So I'm going to finish this up. Okay, so now we're ready for round 8. So round 8 we're going to start off working even in the first 6 stitches. So 1 stitch in each, working the 3rd loop, half double crochet. Okay, so we've worked our 6 half double crochet even. Now we're going to work 4 post stitches in stitches 7, 8, 9, and 10. And now we're working even again, stitches 11 through 17. Okay, now we're at stitch 18. So 18, we're going to pop in 2 stitches like we've been doing our increase there. So stitches 19, we're working even, stitch 20 even, 21, and 22. So stitch 23, you're going to put 2 half double crochet in there. And then we're going to continue to work even, stitches 24 to the end. So at the end of round 8, you're going to have a total of and now we're ready for round 9. So round 9 we're going to work even in the first 5 stitches, again half double crochet in the 3rd loop for 5 stitches, 1 stitch in each. Okay, so now we're at stitch 6, so 6, 7, 8, and 9. We're going to work our front post half double crochet. Alright, so now we are at stitches 10 through 17. We're going to work even again. Okay, so now we're back to stitch 18, popping in our 2 stitches. Okay, so then stitches 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24, you're going to work even. And stitch 25, you're going to pop in 2 stitches here, because we're keeping up with our thumb here. And then stitches 26 to the end, we are going to work even. So I'm going to continue that off camera, and at the end of round 9 we're going to have a total of 37 stitches. Alright, so now we're ready for round 10. So round 10 we are working even in the first 4 stitches. So we've worked our 4 stitches, so stitches 5, 6, 7, and 8 are our post stitches. And then we're going to work even in stitches 9 through 17 again. Alright, there's stitch 17, almost worked in stitch 18. But as you know, we're working 2 half double crochet in stitch 18. And then we have stitches 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. We're working even. And then in stitch 27, you're going to work 2 half double crochets. And then you're going to finish up your round 10 by working even. So at the end of round 10, then you will have a total of 39 stitches. So I'll meet you back at the end of round 10. Okay, so we finished up round 10. We've got our 39 stitches. So now we are going to start round 11. So round 11, we're going to work even in the first 5 stitches. So 1, 2, okay, so now we're slanting this way. Now we want to start directing our post stitches the other way. So we're going to work 4 front post half double crochets in stitches 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then stitches 10 through 17, again, we're going to work even. I worked my stitches 10 through 17 even. Now we're back to stitch 18. We're going to pop in our 2 stitches. So stitches 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. We are going to work even, and then stitch 29, you're going to pop in 2 stitches, and then continue to work even to finish up round 11. And at the end of round 11, you're going to have a total of 41 stitches. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then we'll get ready to make our thumb for the right mitten. Alright, so now we're going to get ready for round 12. In this round, we are going to be closing up our thumb hole. So we've been increasing for it. So we're going to work even to get started in stitches 1 through 6. And then in stitches 7, 8, 9, and 10, we are working our half double crochet front post half double crochet stitches. I don't know why that's hard to say. Okay, so now stitches 11 through 17, we're working even. Okay, so I worked up to stitch 17, now we're on to stitch 18. So now what we're going to do, this is where we did our increasing. So you are going to insert your hook in stitch 18. So you're going to yarn over in the 3rd loop. So we're going to count, so this is 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. So stitch 31, you're going to insert your hook in the 3rd loop, just like we did in the left mitt to create the thumb. Or if you don't want to do all that counting, you just look at where you increased here. So that second half double crochet, you will insert your hook. So find your 3rd loop. There it is. So now we have our 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull through 2 of those guys, and then yarn over, pull through 3, just like a regular half double crochet to finish up the stitch. And then you're just going to continue to work your half double crochet around in the 3rd loop for round 12, and then you will have your thumb hole for your right mitten. Okay, so to start round 13, and this is going to be for rounds 13 through 16, you're going to do the same thing. So you're going to work even all the way around, but as you can see, we're starting our post section and we want it to go this way. So when you come up to the post section, you're going to work your half double crochet in the 3rd loop. You will work your half double crochet in 3rd loop in this first post stitch right here, and then you'll work your 4 post stitches across. So you're going to do that for rounds 13 through 16, and that's going to help your post stitches to slant this way. So I'm going to work those rounds real quick, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 16. Okay, so we worked up to round 16. Now we're ready for round 17. So what we're going to do for round 17 is now we want our post stitches to start going this way. So you're going to work your half double crochet in the 3rd loop for 9 stitches, working even, and then in stitches 10, 11, 12, and 13, you're going to work your post stitches, and then you're going to continue to half double crochet around for round 17. And you do have 28 stitches, so just, might want to check your stitch count every once in a while to make sure you're on the right track. So I'm going to continue and work round 17. Okay, so now we're going to get ready for round 18. So you're going to do the same thing as you did for round 17. You're going to work your half double crochets in the next 8 stitches, and then you're going to front post and then stitches 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you can see that it's going to be starting to go the opposite direction in our little zigzag pattern. And then after you work your 4 post stitches, then you're going to continue to half double crochet around in the 3rd loop. So I'll meet you back at the end of round 18. Alright, so we worked up to round 18. Now we're ready for round 19. So round 19 we're going to start decreasing. So we are going to work a decrease stitch to get started. So just like we did with the left mitten, so front loop, pull through the 2. We're still working in the 3rd loop, and pull through the 2. So after we've worked our decrease stitch, we're going to work even for 5 stitches. So 1 stitch in each. Okay, so now we're back to our post stitch section. So stitches 6, 7, 8, and 9 are going to be, or actually technically they're not stitches 6, 7, 8, and 9. As we did the 2 to the stitch, those would be 1, 2, and then 7. So this would be 8, 9, 10, and 11 technically. Okay, so after you've worked those 4 post stitches, you're just going to crochet or half double crochet in the next 2 stitches here. Now we're going to do another decrease. So we're just kind of strategically placing these decreases. Okay, so after we've worked this decrease, we're going to continue to work even until we get to our last 4 stitches. So our last 4 stitches we are going to decrease 2 times, and that will be the end of round 19. And at the end of round 19, you're going to have a total of 24 stitches. So you can just see me counting just to see. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to work 1 more stitch. And now I'm going to be starting my decrease, my first one, combining the 2 into 1. So there's the 1. And then my last 2 stitches and then marking that last stitch. Always want to mark the last stitch. Alright, so now we're going to get ready for round 20. So round 20, just like the left mitten, we are going to work even. So we still want to have our post stitches going this way, so you're going to work even until you get to this stitch here, right next to your post stitch. So then you're going to post stitch around this guy, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll work this stitch even, and then these are going to be your posts, and then you'll just continue to work even for round 20. So I'm going to go do that off camera and I'll meet you back. Okay, so we are ready for round 21. We're getting close to the end of this part of the mitten. So now we are going to work even in the next 1, 2, 3, 4. So the next 4 stitches, and now we are going to work our post stitches. So we worked our 4 post stitches, so now we are going to work even in the next 2. We're strategically placing these decreases so that you really can't see them, and you don't want to pull your zigzag too far to the right, so when it's on the hand you can see it. So that's why it's not quite the same as the left, but because of the way these decrease stitches are made, they're pretty invisible, so you're not really going to tell. So you're going to work 2, and we're going to work our first decrease stitch or together stitch just like that. Okay, so we've worked our decrease stitch, so now we are going to work even again for 2 stitches, and we're going to pop in another decrease. And then we're going to continue to work even until we get to the last 4 stitches like the previous decrease round. In the last 4 you're going to work your 2 decrease stitches. And then at the end of round 21, you will have a total of 20 stitches, not 21. I was close. So let me just check here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, now we're ready to decrease again. Okay, so then round 21 is complete, and then we're going to get ready for round 22. And round 22 is going to be a repeat of the previous of round 20. So you're going to work even again until you get to this stitch here. So this one right next, get out of the way there. So this one's going to be a post stitch, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And then just continue to work even for round 22. So I'll do that off camera and I'll meet you back. Okay, we're at round 23, so we're really getting close to the end here. So now we are going to decrease again. So you're going to work 2 stitches even. So still in our 3rd loop. And now we're ready for our post stitch section. So 4 front post half double crochet. Grabbing a little bit more yarn. Okay, so we've worked our 4 front post half double crochet, so now we are going to work 2 stitches even. So just strategically we're going to be placing our posts or our decrease stitches. So we worked 2 stitches even. Now we're going to do our first decrease. So 3rd loop there, pull through the 2. Okay, so there's our decrease or together stitch. So now we're going to work 2 even. we're going to work another decrease stitch. So we're going to again work even until we have our last 4. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means we're working 2 more stitches. Again, just strategically placing them. And now we're ready for our last 4 stitches. So third loop, third loop. There's our first one. Or actually technically third, and this is the 4th and our last stitch. So at the end of round 23 you're going to have a total of 16 stitches, and now we'll be ready for rounds 24 and 25. So round 24 you're going to work 1 stitch. And now we're ready for our post stitches. So 4 front post half double crochet, just in keeping with the pattern here. And then you're going to continue to work even for round 24. So I'll finish that up and then I'll meet you back for round 25. Alright, so now we are at round 25, our last round for the hand part. So our first 4 stitches are going to be post stitches. So our 4 post stitches in keeping with the pattern. So front post, half double crochet, and then you're just going to continue to work even. So after you've worked round 25, then you're going to close the hole just like we did for the left mitten. So pulling up your loops, still working in the third loop all the way around, and then you'll work those loops off with however many hooks that you need. And then you're going to work the thumb. The thumb is the same as the left thumb, so you're going to do the same thing. Work the thumb and then close up your thumb, and then your mitten will be done. So you will then need to weave in these ends. And if you want to add buttons or even line them, whatever you want to do to personalize your mittens, you know, feel free. And then they're ready for wearing, or if you need to block them as well. So I'm going to finish these up and I'll meet you back. Okay, so I have finished up my right mitt. So I've closed up my holes there on my thumb and at the top of it. So here's the right one, here's the left one, and now I just need to finish weaving in my ends. And maybe I'll probably just do a very, very light block on these guys, and I won't line them because I don't like to sew. But I hope you enjoyed this project, and I thank you so much for watching.